Jade, Gale's chosen one. You want to be the light in our all-consuming darkness. You want to make history. We make history every time we make somebody decay. We survived the Great War. We thrive in environments where we should have decayed. We are nature's cockroach that cannot be destroyed. But you can, Jay. In this cage, with all the world watching, and the hive watching over us, we will end your pathetic career and Gale's silly little crusade for a chosen one. Decay! Decay! Decay!
Everyone, welcome back to the HeelCast. I'm Brother _, formerly known as TNA Dude, and I am joined this week by my best bud, FK9. Niner, how's it hanging, brother?
Wait a minute. Last time your voice sounded completely different, and this week it's back to normal. What's going on?
I'm a little sexier sounding than I was the last time. Not quite as sexy as numero 47, but definitely sexier than this guy. Hurls. Sup, bro?
Wow. I thought we had a great Thanksgiving dinner and you throw me under the bus just like that. I tried my best last time to be a good host, and that's the payment I get? Wow.
Hey man, you try to impersonate me, you impersonate me. You did a great job as host, but you tried to pass yourself off as being the brother.
Well, I do what I can, to make sure the ship runs smooth.
Well, next time, look, if you want to impersonate somebody on this show, my money would go to be numero 47. That dude rocking it hard. And speaking of numero 47 rocking it hard, everybody make sure that you check out numero 47's site, www.diva-dirt.com, where he gives you all the news and nuggets on the knockouts every single week. Also, folks, be sure to check out our buddy, the Chef, TNA Mafia. That's at Chef_TNA Mafia. Not that fake account running around trying to be him. As well as FK9's own The Issues with Impact. You can find that on YouTube. You can also find that on Facebook and on TNAsylum.net. And folks, if you haven't checked that out, make sure you do check it out. It's interactive and it's great stuff. Also, our good buddies over at the King of the Mountain podcast, they're tearing it up every single week. We're looking forward to doing a joint show with those folks in a couple more weeks, actually. And finally, our good buddy, Mr. Andre Corbeil, one of the most entertaining folks in all of sports entertainment. And FK9, a guy who's a big fan of yours, actually, isn't he?
It would seem so. Yeah. He's told me that I was the one who actually inspired him to join the IWC in the first place, and he cited the video that inspired him to do it. It was actually one of the weirder things I'd done back then. So of all the videos to inspire someone, I wouldn't have picked that one. But okay, whatever does it for you.
Yeah, I think
I'm
that's
happy
great.
to help.
My favorite episode, by the way, FK9, was the one with the cat, where you found out the next week that the cat had passed on.
Oh, no. I felt terrible about that. I had this... look, I had this running bit on my videos where I had a feud with a talking cat from another channel. This guy, his pet cat, he has this bit where the cat talks and everything. I had a feud with the cat. The cat actually invaded my house one time, and we fought and everything, and it was an ongoing thing. And then I did a bit where the cat invaded again, and I removed him violently, and then I found out afterward that the cat had passed away. I felt like shit. But, I apologized, and it's all good. Oh, boy.
I thought you handled it. I thought you handled it extremely well. But as far as my most memorable moments, it was the moment where you started doing a tribute to this cat. And I was so enjoying your feud with the cat, and all of a sudden it's like the cat's dead, and the feud had to die, and it was like the end of an era. It was the end of an era. It was like, whoa, there's no more of this. Oh man. So look, guys, getting into some news here. Obviously, news in TNA has been kind of sparse. We do have some this week. Hurls, I understand that Cody is the new Global Force Wrestling Next Gen Champion. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Cody won the Next Gen title. I believe it was from Sanjay Dutt, but I'm not positive on that. But yes, he did win the Next Gen Championship in GFW. But what does it really mean? I mean, what has GFW done in the last year? I mean, they're sitting on months worth of tapings. They've been trying to get them to air, but they haven't. To my knowledge, they haven't got a TV deal in any country, much less the USA. So really, all this is just an accolade that has no prestige, doesn't have any television time. So it's good for Cody, but ultimately, I don't think it really does anything.
So, FKI, let me ask you this question. We've got Global Force Wrestling with all of these months worth of tapings, right? And then we've got the Fight Network with a streaming app. It kind of makes you wonder, why wouldn't GFW reach out to somebody like an Anthem? Why wouldn't Anthem show some form of interest in GFW? Are they just looking for more of a proven commodity, or could GFW be, the second show on a network like Anthem, or maybe like the one that Ring of Honor and some of the other ones are joining? Why not go that route for GFW?
Well, on Anthem's end, they probably don't care. Because let's face it, GFW is not a very big deal at all in the wrestling world. And on Jarrett's end, it's probably ego. He probably thinks he's probably still working under the assumption that Global Force Wrestling is going to be the next big thing in wrestling, like he was screaming from the rooftops to anyone who would listen when he was starting this thing up a while ago, which, well, he probably feels a little bit silly now, because, I mean, what's GFW really done? Well, they piggybacked on Wrestle Kingdom. They invaded TNA. They taped a whole bunch of TV that will never air. And the next thing you know, their inaugural women's champion is selling her title belt on eBay. So Global Force Wrestling, Cody? Really? That was... You thought that was going to be the best decision you could make? I mean, Cody, you've got other options here, better options. You've got TNA, ROH. You could probably easily get some high-profile bookings in Japan or Mexico. I mean, GFW? Really, dude? I mean, I think you're selling yourself short here, Cody. You can do better.
Dude, you said his wife, right? He is definitely doing better. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, guys, I don't get this either. This makes no sense to me. The only way that I could rationalize this on Cody's part is Cody just wants to go around. He wants to wrestle everywhere and wrestle everybody, and he wants to live, quote, the dream. You remember his father's name, Dusty Rhodes, because he was always traveling down the dusty roads? Maybe he's trying to relive his father's legacy. Unfortunately, Cody, it is to 2016. And FK9 hit the nail on the head. You do have better options. You have TNA, you have ROH, you have New Japan. There's no reason why you can't work those venues make a heck of a good living and not have an amazing travel schedule if you don't want to have it, and have a longer career and not be overexposed. So what he's doing with the next gen title and GFW, folks, that's beyond me as well. I don't get it, but I'll say this much: is as big a coup as Jeff Jarrett's been able to create in wrestling for GFW. I want you to think about that. This is the biggest coup he's been able to create. Kind of works both ways. Speaking of title matches, I believe that we have Rosemary and Jade inside of the 6 sides of steel. But guys, this is the main event for Impact. So, Hurls, what does this mean for the Knockouts to be able to say that they are main eventing Impact in 6 sides of steel?
I think it says a lot. The faith that TNA has in their women's division, and pretty much that they've always had. They've done a lot for women's wrestling over the years, and I remember the one cage match we had with Mickie James versus Tara. I mean, that was phenomenal. That main evented TNA Impact one time. We also had Gail versus Awesome Kong. That main evented TNA Impact one time. Both of those matches were phenomenal, and I believe this one is going to be just the same. And it's for the Knockouts title, and there's a lot of hype for this match. So I think it's nothing but positive from a fan's perspective and for the wrestler's perspective.
I love that this is happening because, WWE is creating some noise recently by putting their women in more high-profile spots, and they just did the first women's match to main event a pay-per-view and the first female Hell in a Cell match. I didn't see it, but they did it, and people talked. So it's good that this is happening. We've seen knockouts in main event impacts before. We've seen a few knockout cage matches over the years, but let's not undersell how important it is that this is going to be the first knockout main event and cage match to not feature a big name star like a Mickie James or like a Gail Kim. Now this is 2 of the new girls, so I think it's really important that these 2 are getting this spot. It's really important that it goes well. From what I hear, it did go very well, so that's good. And I'm just really excited for it, and I hope this is a sign of things to come. I hope it's a sign that TNA is ready to pass the ball over to the newer girls and not have the whole division revolve around Gail Kim all the time, because it really can't anymore. And don't even get me started on that. I'll go on and on. I mean, you heard the show last time, but yeah. I'm really happy to see it. I'm excited for it, and I really hope it gets a lot of time and that it delivers in a big way.
Guys, this is what it means to me. Now, the one benefit that TNA has from these marathon tapings is the fact that everything's taped in advance. So they can order the show however they want. When you're live, you know what? You got to pick it in advance and hope for the best. The fact that they decided to make this show the main event for Impact tells me one thing: it sure as hell doesn't suck. Okay? More importantly, they believe that this is a great match. What matches have they been promoting this week so far? FK9, what have they been promoting?
Pretty much this one.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively.
I'm not really sure I even know what else is on the card right now, to be honest with you. This one. So they're promoting the crap out of this match, and they made it the main event after the tapings. Folks, read between the lines. This is going to be an outstanding match. This match is going to tear the roof off the house. I have talked with some folks in attendance at these tapings. They concur with that. Okay? As you guys know, we had Chef on a couple weeks ago. Chef was there. Chef was telling us about the match off air, and he said this was a can't miss match. I've heard it from others as well. So the bottom line is, you read between the lines, and then you start talking to people. This is a match we're all going to want to see. It is going to be outstanding, and I cannot wait for this match. I'm glad for these gals in this match, They're both outstanding. We all know what Jade can do in the ring. We've all seen what Rosemary can do in limited action. Give them the time. What I don't know is how much time they're actually going to give this match. But give them the time to put on the match, and hopefully what we'll find is that we have a feud that will take us to the future. And just like what you said, FK9, these are going to be stars in the making. These aren't going to be stars that have already been there and, we're just retreading. So, yeah, I have very high hopes for this, for both of these gals. Now, we've also got Total Nonstop Deletion scheduled on December the 15th. So, FK9, what are you looking most forward to for Total Nonstop Deletion?
I think the best thing about Total Nonstop Deletion is that I don't know what the hell to expect. I mean, we just saw this past Thursday, Matt got hit by lightning. And if that's what they do just to build up to Total Nonstop Deletion, who the hell knows what's going to happen? What are they going to pull out of the hat this time? I have no idea. And that's a pretty rare thing that you can say that in wrestling when that happens, is that you have no idea what's going to happen. So I'm excited just in that aspect. We've seen, these vignettes at the Hardy compound over the last few weeks and months. They've all been really entertaining and really creative stuff. To have a whole show devoted to that, that's going to be something to see. And they've been filming it. I don't know if they're still filming it, but they were working on that. I think for the last couple of weeks at least. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be really big and completely different from probably anything we've ever seen before. Certainly on Impact. So get excited.
The final deletion match, or the Total Nonstop Deletion, is going to be very exciting, even though we don't know too much about it. But Gregory Helms did an interview this past week and said that you're going to see some familiar faces from Omega. Now, that could be, I'm not really up to date on my Omega watching, but that could be pretty interesting as some of the characters that they portrayed in that promotion. So I'm also looking forward to seeing what other tag teams they're going to bring in. Are they going to bring in some tag teams from the past? Are they going to bring in some outside tag teams that do not have TNA contracts? That's what I'm looking forward to. And I'm also looking forward to some of the crazy stuff that they're going to do. I hope it's different enough from the final deletion, and I hope it's different enough from Delete or Decay to where this will really stand out. But you got to figure if it's a 2-hour Impact episode, it's going to stand out.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this particular show. I think it's going to be awesome. I think what you're going to find is that it's going to be something that we have absolutely no idea what's coming. This is where TNA is able to do things that they're otherwise unable to do, right? And they're kind of able to save these tapings in a way that they otherwise wouldn't be able to, by doing bizarre things like taping at the Hardy compound. Now, I don't know how many times they're going to be able to go to this well, guys. If they're going to tape 4 times a year next year, right? I don't know if they're going to be able to go to the Hardy compounds, every 3 months, or maybe even 6 or 8 times a year to kind of break it up to make things happen. But this keeping Matt Hardy out of the Impact Zone, but on TV the way they did in Cameron, really has given us the ability to not totally be spoiled by everything, right? I mean, you can read the spoilers and find out that Jeff's holding both belts and that they're claiming Matt's injured, but they kind of made it sound like Matt was injured, not that Matt just went nuts, right? Bringing in these teams from the past is something that I'm really looking forward to. I mean, you guys don't understand. I'm a big mark for the Rock and Roll Express, right? And they've been confirmed for this. Now, I'm not really sure that I want to see Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, trying to be what they used to be. But I think if they use them in a cameo role, I think if they use them as a sort of almost comedic relief role, okay, that it's the kind of thing that people will really enjoy, right? Because they're 2 guys that aren't going to show up on WWE the next week. So, to me, I'm really looking forward to this Total Nonstop Deletion because it's like you guys said, it's a complete unknown. Now, I'll tell you what we do know. We do know FK9, Billy Corgan is officially out of TNA. We have a press release, hot off the presses from today, from Anthem, where they made the announcement that they have completed the agreement to resolve Billy's litigation and that they've acquired the loan. They did not disclose the terms, and that Billy has dismissed his proceedings. So, FK9, where do you think that this takes us moving forward with Anthem?
It's really hard to say. I guess it's kind of a good news, bad news situation. The bad news is Billy Corgan is gone, and a lot of people saw him as like the one person who could possibly right the ship. But I guess the good news is we can all just breathe a sigh of relief because, well, God, at least it's all over now. We can finally get back to some measure of stability. And so Billy's out, Anthem's in. The question of what Dixie's role is going to be now is still kind of up in the air. Is she still the president? Is she a minority owner? Is she a majority owner? Is she out completely? Who the hell knows? One thing we do know for sure is that something is going to change now. Something is going to be different. Now, what that is exactly is unclear right now. But we do have some stability going forward, at least in the short term, and I guess that's something to be thankful for.
Yeah, I think the same thing. The rumor has always been that Anthem wanted 85% of the company, that Aeroluge was going to get 10%, and that Dixie was going to be left with 5%. That rumor is still swirling. They're still claiming that the Aeroluge president is still going to run it, so I guess they kind of get control because they get to run it. But that Anthem has control because they're the majority owner. So we'll see where that takes everything. I think it could be a good thing for the health of the company. Clearly, Anthem's going to have deeper pockets than what Billy Corgan's going to have. I mean, I know we were all hoping to keep Billy Corgan involved because of how great he is creatively, right? And I think that that's where we would see the biggest drop off, which is sad because for us, we really care about the product. At the same point in time, the coffers will be there with Anthem. I think that by having the production company kind of running the show, I think that's good because I think they'll do a better job handling costs. I've been screaming for years that the number one thing Dixie Carter needed to do was hire a CEO and a CFO. And by CFO, I mean somebody who's really going to come down hard on expenses. And effectively, she's kind of done that. Maybe not the way that I would have liked to have seen it done. That would have left her with a larger share of the company, obviously, had she done it sooner. But she's going to get that. So they're going to get the fiscal responsibility, and they're going to get the financial stability that at least for the next couple of years is going to carry them through. Ultimately, they're going to be tied to the success of the Fight Network and Anthem Sports Entertainment. And as Anthem goes, TNA goes. My biggest concern is that Anthem is able to grow and get people watching other products on Fight Network, and then they look at TNA and they go, well, we can get something cheaper than you. We could get a GFW, and we could build them because we now have an avid base of sports fans to build our own up even cheaper. Or maybe they say, you know what, we'll keep TNA, but we're going to dilute it even more, right? And that's obviously a distinct possibility as well. So who knows what's going to actually happen there. It's a sad day for us as folks that like a good product because Billy Corgan delivered for us, but it might also be a very good day for the health of the company and the longevity of the product moving forward. I think the biggest thing that we get out of this is that there is a future for Impact Wrestling as we move forward into 2017. And that is the best thing that any wrestling fan could ask for. So that's really all we've got on news. But we had a pretty interesting show this week, FK9. They did a lot of things to make it more of a holiday special. Now, are you a fan of holiday specials, or do you prefer to just put on a regular show?
I'm a fan of some holiday silliness. I think, once a year, there's a reason to do it, and you can do something fun with it. There's nothing wrong with a little holiday hijinks. I enjoy that stuff. I wouldn't want to see it all the time, but, for one time out of the year, I'm in the mood for a little holiday fun, so that I enjoy them. I know you're probably not going to get a blowaway show because nobody's watching. They're all at grandma's house for dinner, or they're watching, A Christmas Story on TBS or whatever. But for the people who do choose to watch on Thanksgiving night, they're going to want a little holiday fun. They're going to want a little, some Thanksgiving vignettes where somebody gets hit with a pie or whatever. So I enjoy that stuff when the time comes for it. Like I said, wouldn't want to see it all the time, but for 1 week, I'm not going to complain about it.
I'm with you, FK9. I enjoyed it. I like these funny little interludes. I think if you tried to do it every week, it would probably kill me. I think the only thing that really hurt them is that they taped this show so far in advance that I don't think that the crowd really was ready to understand that it was Thanksgiving to the show. So I don't think that they necessarily got the response, but you kind of do what you're going to do. So the show opens with Team X Gold. Again, nobody seems to really understand what this is. Something to do with waving a flag at the end of the match. I don't know. But they had all three teams involved, and that's the one thing that I will say is you put 9 guys in the ring, especially a 6-sided ring, you can have a lot of fun. And that's kind of what I thought about this particular match, is that it was a lot of fun. I like the fact that, DJZ and Mandrews and Sutter and all those guys got to put up some really, cool moves and some fun things. It set up a future title match. That was pretty cool too, because at least there was a point to this particular match. But, Hurls, as we talk about Team X Gold, is it just a flag waving thing? Is this something that they're continuing to run? Or was this the end and they've just got title matches set up for Mandrews and Braxton Sutter?
It's almost like it's 2 separate entities into one. You got Braxton Sutter and you got Mandrews, who are going to have title shot in a triple threat. That might be one of the next matches we're going to see on Impact. I'm not sure. But the concept has been a little confusing from the start. We didn't know if it was TNA's version of Capture the Flag or if it was just a fancy way to get people title shots. I'm still not real sure. I guess I just kind of enjoy it for what it is with the matches itself. But as far as the concept goes, I just don't see where this is going to go. Because you're going to have to bring in new X Division teams for this to work. And if one of the rules is you have so many successful attempts or defense attempts at the flag, then the other 2 members of your team get title shots, then fine. But what's the longevity of this is my question. I just don't know. Are we going to see this come January in TNA? I think that's the big question here.
I'm with you guys in that I still have little to no idea what this is even about. Is it a game of capture the flag? Do you get the flag if you win? If so, what do you get? What does having the flag mean exactly? Beats me. They never bothered to explain any of this. So to this day, it's still really hard to care about these Team X Gold matches because you don't know what's at stake or what they're fighting over. And one thing that was improved upon with this match is that at least there was something at stake. Okay, the winning team get title shots. Okay, thank you. That now you have a reason to root for one team over the other. I would have liked a little more time devoted to it because there were a lot of rapid fire pins here, which got a little ridiculous. Okay, we're eliminating people right and left. And it's like you got 9 guys here. You couldn't give them a little more time to just go at it. so that's unfortunate. But hey, I like go for broke winning. Which means that Mandrews gets a title shot, which I'm really happy about. I don't think he's ready to win the thing because they gotta build him up for that first. But I like him at least getting a shot. Braxton Sutter, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. He seems more occupied with that love triangle he's got going on with the knockouts. But whatever. I'm happy for Mandrews. That's really cool. The whole Decay and Spud thing, I don't really understand that. Why are the Decay working with Spud? They don't even seem to like him. They attacked him in this match, so I don't think they care about him at all. Also, Andrew Everett seemed a little confused in this match. He was breaking up a pin attempt. Why? It's an elimination match, dude. You want everybody else to get eliminated with it. That was strange. It was a fun match, though. Little rushed. Pins happened too fast. Pins happened too quickly. Got it that time. So I'm fine with the faces winning, but I'm just wondering what the end goal here is with all this, with the Team X Gold stuff. We got some title shots now to look forward to. Okay, cool. But what happens after that? I still don't know.
Yeah, if they wanted to do this right, they'd have to give it a purpose, which they never did, right? But even if the idea was, we're going to do some sort of a point system, round robin system, right? A la Bound for Glory tournament matches several years ago. They could almost take a tag team and pick them with somebody random, and the winning team, the tag team, become the number one contenders, and the somebody random is the number one contender for the X division or some other division, some other title. And just kind of make it seem kind of random, but get people involved. They could bring outsiders in. ROH does that all the time, right? And just have a tournament and just put a couple of these matches on. And, one or two on each week. They don't have to give them a ton of time. But then when you get to the finale, then maybe you do have a, three-way matches or something like that. There's a lot of things they could do to make this work. But in its current incarnation where nobody has bothered to explain it, which is sad because we've all been critical of this for weeks, right? For weeks we've been coming on the show, we've been critical of it. Everybody on Twitter's been critical of it. Everybody on Asylum's been critical of it. And TNA, it's like they're not paying any attention. So they just decided we're not going to explain it. The only thing I can say is that there just is no explanation for it. Now, what I will tell you that there's kind of not really much explanation for is why Maria Kanellis decided she needed to have her Thanksgiving dinner in the ring. But I will tell you that it was a lot of fun to watch, right? So Mike and Maria come out with Laurel Van Ness, Braxton Sutter, and of course, Allie comes out. And Allie's, of course, she's got to look like a pilgrim. And she finally explodes. And of course, when she explodes, Laurel Van Ness, you're a big meanie. And she slaved over dinner, and of course there's nothing vegan that she can actually eat. Ultimately, of course, she's going to try to throw a pie at Laurel Van Ness, and she's going to hit Maria. Braxton, I don't know if you guys noticed this in the back. Braxton is in the back. He is laughing his butt off. But for me, the move of the night, the entire best part of the show, was Mike Bennett has no idea what to make of what happened with this pie. So he walks up to Maria and he wipes the pie off her and he tries to eat it. He's got to try the pie, and that just cracked me up. Hurls, what'd you think of this, buddy? Because when Mike walked up to Maria, I mean, I was about falling over laughing. I mean, that was just awesome.
On these holiday shows, you need something like this, a segment to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. And I thought this segment definitely did that while maintaining the storyline going forward. I love the part where Allie said, "I'm vegan." That was great because she can't eat anything, obviously. And like you said, Mike sticking his finger on Maria and licking the pie off. That was great. It was a fun segment. I mean, that's what you expect for a Thanksgiving episode. It's not supposed to be taken that serious, and it did its job. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the bits of comedy. I didn't really think Braxton provided too much, just besides the fact that he's just involved with this. but it was a lighthearted segment, and I enjoyed it for what it was.
Why was Maria having Thanksgiving in the ring? A bigger question, why was she having Thanksgiving without tofurkey? Thanksgiving dinner without tofurkey is not Thanksgiving dinner at all. Poor Allie. She just can't catch a break. Cutest pilgrim ever, though. Oh my lord.
Oh, you got that right, buddy.
Anyway, yeah. They're doing a little holiday silliness here, which is what you expect on a holiday show. You expect stuff like this, but they're still managing to continue to build the Allie Maria story, which has taken off better than I think anyone could have imagined. They're all giving Allie a ton of shit here, and Laurel is still hitting on Braxton Sutter. Hey, they called me Laurel Van Yes in college, so I guess that's Laurel hinting that she's a big slut. Which okay. She's a heel. She can do that.
It's always a good thing to call yourself a slut, though, right? I mean,
I know,
that's normal.
That too. Yeah, so finally Allie just snaps and she goes nuts and she almost hits Laurel with the pie, but then Laurel ducks and she hits Maria, and then, oh no, Maria's going nuts. And Mike has no idea what to make of it while Maria's freaking out and just eats the pie. It's funny stuff. That's what these holiday episodes are supposed to be. They're supposed to be fun, that you don't take too seriously. I appreciated that they were able to advance a storyline, even if they knew that a lot of people probably were going to be at grandma's house for dinner or whatever. Like I said, it's holiday silliness. That's what you expect the show to deliver. So I liked it. I had fun with it. I got some laughs, and it was nice to see Allie hit Maria with a pie. I'm sure she found that very cathartic.
Now, look. I know we've all said that the Thanksgiving dinner was the kind of thing that we expected on the show, but the one thing that I did not expect was for Eli Drake and EC3 to not main event it. I thought that was just almost a shock. Hurls, when you look at this, why do you think that this was in this time slot? And why does it seem like EC3 not really the main eventer that he was a year ago? A year ago, he main events this, no questions asked.
Yeah, I also found this kind of odd. It was the mid-main event, the halfway point, so to speak. It was a great match. I loved every bit of it. These two are just progressing as wrestlers inside the ring tenfold. The work that they put on in this match was just awesome. I can't say enough about these guys. It probably should have been the main event because it was a lot better than the actual main event. It was a good match. I'm glad EC3 won because, honestly, not being able to talk for, a few weeks isn't going to be that bad for Eli Drake. It's not like it's going to go into January. So, the stipulation probably was best. It almost kind of reminded me like they didn't exactly know what to do to keep this feud really relevant. So they added this stipulation to kind of end it. It's pretty harmless if you ask me, especially if TNA is only going to have a few episodes left with probably a best of show for the Christmas and best of show for New Year's. So it really doesn't hurt EC3. It makes him look strong because they put on a hell of a match. He got a lot of offense in, and it keeps up EC3's, badass gimmick he's got going on where after he wins, he's rushing to the back. He's just taking care of business. I think that's his whole motto right now. So overall, the match was great, and I enjoyed it. It probably should have been the main event. I'm not really sure what their thoughts were on why it wasn't. Maybe they figured the DCC is a bigger storyline right now, which in all purposes, it is a bigger storyline. So I guess that would probably be the reasoning, but as far as match quality wise, this one definitely was the better of the two.
I'll echo that sentiment. This was definitely the better match of the two. I also think that they're trying to build the DCC storyline, probably, hopefully, have something to do with the upcoming matches at the Hardy compound. This was a match that they promoted, and it delivered. I mean, it really did. It was a great back and forth match. This is the kind of match that I like. It wasn't a spot fest. It was just two guys going at each other. But you know what? They still had their moments. You know, we had the backbreaker on one of the steps. We had Eli Drake kicking out of the 1%er. Okay? And Josh even said no one's supposed to kick out of the 1%er. So to me, that in and of itself was a great moment for Eli Drake because it really elevated him. He put on a great match. With or without EC3, he put on a great match. Obviously, EC3 puts on a great match. But when he kicked out of the 1%er, that was EC3's way of saying, you know what, Eli, you've arrived. You've arrived at the top of the card. So that means a lot to me on this. The only other thing that I'm going to throw out, and FK9, I'm going to throw this over to you because I'm sure that you're going to have a pretty strong opinion, and I'm looking for somebody with a pretty strong opinion on this one. EC3 won this match via a rear naked choke. Now, I don't like the fact that they're doing rear naked chokes and any kind of chokes in wrestling. To me, wrestling's always about the headlock, and they're making sure that you're not underneath the chin. And chokes are illegal, and they're things that the heels do. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to say that I think that chokes should go back to being illegal. And I'm going to take it as far as to say that arm and knee bars, they should make those illegal as well. It's not traditional, but the reason I'm saying this is because I think that they've gone the wrong direction. They're making wrestling seem a little bit too much like MMA. They're taking wrestling and they're making it a little bit too much like jiu-jitsu, to the point where if I want to watch MMA and I want to watch jiu-jitsu where I know I'm going to see these types of things, why wouldn't I just watch the real thing? So what I'm saying is make wrestling submissions be more exotic, something that you can't, I don't want to say easily do, but readily do in a real fight. And a lot of people disagree with me on this one, FK9. So let's hear it from you. Straight from the man himself. What do you think?
I guess I would have to respectfully disagree with you as well. We've seen chokes used in wrestling. I mean, Samoa Joe used and continues to use the rear naked choke. I don't really see a problem with it. I do agree. I probably would prefer to see something a little more creative. It seemed for a while like the Texas Cloverleaf was coming back. A couple people were doing that, and then that went away. So I would prefer to see something like that as opposed to just a choke or a knee bar or something. But I don't really have an issue with it. As far as the match not being the main event, I'm going to echo what you guys said. Best guess is that they wanted that spot reserved for Jeff Hardy versus the DCC because they have big plans for that feud, and hopefully big plans for James Storm, fingers crossed. # James Storm for champ. Coincidentally, he pinned Jeff Hardy a few weeks ago. Give the man a title shot for the love of God. But yeah, I said this on my show. I mean, you have to consider this a coming out match for Eli Drake. I think it was the best match he's had in Impact so far. Plus, I mean, this is basically the face of the company that he's in there with, and he's going toe to toe with the guy. He's being super competitive. He's countering finishers. He kicked out of the finisher. EC3 has to go to the well and break out some things that he doesn't normally do to try to put him away, and nothing's working. The 1%er didn't work, so he's got to go outside the box and go to a chokehold of all things just to put this guy away. And it's one of those matches where even though Eli Drake lost, he still came out of it looking better than he did before. And that's fantastic. I love that with his mics, his promo ability on the line for the rest of the year, he just had to sneak in one more, so he starts cutting a promo on EC3 mid-match. That was fantastic. But now it's like it's a double-edged sword because, like I said, no matter who wins, something horrible happens. because if EC3 wins the match, he gets his title shot. But now we got several weeks with no Eli Drake promos. That's horrible. But something great can come out of this as well, because I'll tell you what I want to see. Because I believe Eli Drake can milk something entertaining out of this. I believe he can do it. So here's what I want to see. I want to see him do a Fact of Life using nothing but visual aids and talking through a voice synthesizer like Stephen Hawking. If anyone could milk that for every laugh it's worth, it's Eli Drake.
And there wouldn't be many laughs on that one. Oh my god, dude, that would drive me nuts. Now, I wouldn't mind see him. The Stephen Hawking voice is where he lost me. I think it would be great to see him do a Fact of Life where he holds up a sign that says "Dummy, yeah," and he keeps lifting the sign up, "Dummy, yeah," and maybe the Megatron behind him will say "Dummy, yeah," or something like that. I think he could be hysterical, not saying anything at all. But the Stephen Hawking voice, man, oh my god.
Well, maybe he could try that first, and then the computer like shorts out or something, and so he goes to he like grabs somebody's sign and starts drawing on the back of it, and then holds it up like "Say this now" or something like that.
Now that could be cool. That could be cool. Yeah, he could do something like that. I think that they can make it interesting. But what do we got? How many more weeks of show do we have now? We got this coming week, and we got one more in Final Deletion. Is that all we've got?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, they taped months and months of TV. You got to figure like the last like 1 or 2 shows of the year are going to be best of shows.
Yeah, we have the 1st, the 8th, and the 15th. 15th is Final Deletion.
So there isn't going to be a whole lot of opportunity for it. But here's the thing. What that says to me is that he has the opportunity to do it one time, which means it won't get old. Right? So no matter what he does, we'll only have to see it one time.
Correct. And that's what I was saying. I think it's not going to hurt too bad, because it's only going to be for 2 weeks. Because you figure the Final Deletion is going to be its own separate entity.
Exactly. Now, it is possible that Final Deletion could span more than a week, but I haven't heard anybody really say much about that. Has anybody heard any rumors of Final Deletion spanning more than a week?
I have not. To the best of my knowledge, I read that it's only going to be 1 week, but 2 hours long.
Yeah, and that makes the most sense to me, because those are hard shows to produce. They really are.
Would it upset me if it was 2 weeks long? Hell no. I think they could do it.
You got to figure there would be a hell of a lot of pre-production to pull that off, though.
Exactly.
I mean, they started filming the Total Nonstop Deletion weeks ago, and they might still be doing it for all I know. So you got to figure that stuff takes a long time to produce and film and edit and all that stuff. So I'm amazed that we're getting 1 show. 2 might be beyond their capabilities at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. The real question is, how much does it cost to produce these things? You know what I mean?
Well, it's on Anthem's bill.
Yeah, this is coming out of their pocketbook now.
Yeah, for how long? You know what I'm saying? It's got to work, and that's my thing. Is it's gotta work with the amount of time. And speaking of working and not working, why in the hell is Al Snow still on my television? Hurls, please tell me you're not defending this. Al Snow and Mahabali Shera versus the Tribunal. Other than to say that Baron Dax actually seems like, he might actually have some potential. Like, I am just like, why am I watching this?
I really hope this whole storyline is to get the Tribunal at least over somewhat as a credible heel tag team. And to answer your question, why Al Snow? The thing is, Al Snow can cut promos. I said this last week or 2 weeks ago. He's just not doing it. You take away his gimmick with Head, and you take his gimmick away with the Help Me spelled backwards. It's just not Al Snow. This is Coach Al Snow. This is not over at all. I mean, Al Snow, he's still in great shape. I'm not going to, deny him that. I mean, he is 51, I believe, and still looks really good. But the attire he's wearing is just so bland. How do they expect Al Snow, the bland Al Snow, to get Mahabali Shera over? Because it's not working here. I mean, Mahabali Shera, he's somewhat progressed in the ring, but he's still not that great. Still got a long ways to go before he's passable. So I just don't see how this helps out really anyone. I just hope that the Tribunal runs them over and the Tribunal can finally be looked as a credible tag team in TNA.
Okay. You've got the Sony 6 deal. You've got Mahabali Shera. You know that you have to feature this guy at least on a semi-regular basis to keep the Sony 6 deal people happy. So be it. Guy belongs in some kind of developmental program, but you don't have one of those right now, so he's learning on the job. Is this really the best they can do? You team him with a guy who broke his arm or something. Now they're fighting the guys who just turned on Al Snow. Oh, the Tribunal, the guys who have lost to everybody on the roster at this point. And this is going to be a feud? Why? Does anyone care to see this? I don't care about the Tribunal. I was all for giving them a chance, but then they gave him a chance and they didn't do anything interesting. And God, the feud with Al Snow and Grado and Shera already went on way too damn long, and now they're bringing it back, except without the one person that the crowd seemed to give a shit about in Grado. And don't even get me started on that. But now it's just these four bland dudes that aren't over, and now we're somehow required to get each other over somehow. How is that going to work? I don't know. I don't care about these guys. I don't care about this feud. I guess as holiday filler, it qualifies, because I'd rather have the match on a show like this than on one that's supposed to be a ratings grabber or whatever. But good Lord, why is this still going on? I don't know, and I don't care, and I don't want to see it anymore.
So sadly, all three of us just talked about it, because that's all I really have to say about it. And nobody once talked about the match itself, and the Tribunal only got mentioned in the regards that they may have some potential, and maybe this is to help put them over. I think that speaks volumes for what we thought of this particular segment and this particular feud. And the only other thing, guys, I'm going to throw out there is, you know what? If you're going to put it on, you might as well put on a holiday show, considering it's not likely to be watched by a whole lot of people anyway. We go from this to another one of the little fun holiday things. It was nice to see the Turkey Suit Challenge come back. I always enjoyed the Turkey Suit Challenge. It makes me miss Eric Young even more than I otherwise would. But you know what? If you got to find somebody that's going to fill in the comedy act for Eric Young, you might as well fill in with your man, Grado, and your other man, Robbie EFK9. This was typical comedy silliness. The only thing that I'm going to throw out there was, why in the hell did this match, of all the matches in this card, need a special enforcer? Forget the main event where Jeff Hardy was battling the entire team, right? They're going to really use a special enforcer or two there. Oh, no. We get it in this match. We get Aiden O'Shea as a special enforcer. FK9, I know that you got a lot of wonderful things to say about this, so why don't you hit up and tell us all about your wonderful thoughts on this Turkey Suit Challenge?
Hey, my wonderful thoughts on this match is that it made me want to run to the bathroom. But silly me, when I ran to the bathroom, I was confronted with the face of the same guy in the match when I went for the toilet paper. Same guy's face, both on my TV screen and on the toilet paper. Oh God! Wow. Okay, so the turkey bowl is not being done, but we're still doing the turkey suit. Okay. You know, when I said I liked a little holiday silliness, I was referring to Maria's Thanksgiving dinner. I was not referring so much to Robbie E versus Grado. Really? Really? And look, the whole point of the turkey suit in the first place was to embarrass somebody the crowd doesn't like and send them home happy. So can you explain to me why they put the turkey suit on Grado, who the crowd actually does seem to like? Look, I don't understand it. I don't agree with it, but the crowd does like Grado for some reason. Wouldn't it have made more sense to put the turkey suit on a guy that they don't give a shit about? The guy whose face adorns that hot selling grade of toilet paper? Wouldn't that have made more sense? No, you embarrass Grado, he puts the turkey suit on, and then they all dance, and they're all having a good time and whatever. And then put the fucking turkey suit on Robbie E. That's what he's there for. Not good for anything else. So embarrass the asshole and call it a day.
He's already worn it once, and I gotta say, Grado was a lot more fun to watch in it, though, man.
Next.
I thought the funny thing about this match wasn't even the match itself, but it was Josh Matthews trying to sell the people on how the turkey suit is so prestigious. He kept saying, past names like Alex Shelley and AJ Styles and Eric Young have worn the turkey suit. And he was serious about this, trying to put over the turkey suit as being some type of credible championship or something. I thought that was pretty funny. Unintentionally, of course. But, you know, with Grado putting it on, at least he rocked it. You know, he ended up liking it, and, you know, he got the crowd involved, even though the crowd wasn't that into it. But kind of what Brother Underscore said, I think they just wanted to have somebody different wear it, and that's why Robbie didn't lose. So I think that's why Robbie won, even though he was doing the chicken dances and all that stuff afterwards. Yeah, it's just another one of those holiday filler matches and another holiday filler segment. Not much else you can really say about it, except that I guess it was okay for filler on Thanksgiving.
It was considered. I think TNA probably wishes they could take back that time they made AJ wear the turkey suit.
Hey guys, it was a full moon on Thanksgiving, right? Oh boy. So then we get to the main event, right? And it's pretty much, you know, it's Jeff Hardy versus the world, right? The entire DCC is at ringside. It's no disqualification match. You know, guys, look, I'll say it straight up. It's great to see Bram in the main event. I think he's a guy that is definitely a future main event player. I think it's the time that they start to seep him into the main event. Obviously, I don't think this match should have main evented, but I do think it's nice to see Bram starting to get elevated up the card a little bit. He's still, you know, under James Storm's wing, but it looks like they're going to maybe give him some form of a push, which is great, right? We've got Storm hitting Hardy with a chair. We've got Whisper in the Wind on Storm, a chair to Bram. Jeffy's beating everybody up. We get a twist of fate. You know, you get all of your typical Jeff Hardy, you know, spots in this match, and you know, it was great. It was also nice to see that Bram went over. I'm not really sure how Hardy was going to go over in this match, given everything that he was up against, and I think that it was a great setup on the part of TNA to keep James Storm maybe away from Jeff Hardy a little bit longer. So all in all, I thought that this was a fairly good match. They've done a fairly good build to this particular feud. You know, to me, it was a good main event. It just wasn't as good as the real main event.
Yeah, I think storyline-wise, this was fine. The no DQ thing, the numbers game, keeps catching up to to Jeff, and I guess Matt finally became rebroken, so to speak. So that it works that way. That Matt's going to come back. We know, they're going to it's going to be a full head-on collision with these two again. So the main event, it did its job that way. But the match itself just really didn't have a good flow to it. The pacing was a little awkward. I'm fine with Bram winning. I think they had to win, given the rules of the match and them having the numbers game. So in that sense, it did its job. I just felt that Eli Drake EC3 would have been a better main event to put on last, because that match was really good.
Something I appreciate about this actually was we've seen so many examples over the years of a no DQ match where the guys in it just end up working a regular match, and then it ends up coming down to like one legalized chair shot to end it. And you figure, oh, they just did this to avoid a DQ ending or whatever. And you're always wondering, well, if it's no DQ, why aren't they doing tons of illegal stuff all the time? Because they can't get DQ'd for it. And here they actually did it. We had the DCC guys interfering in the match constantly. And you figure, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. That's what heels would do in this circumstance. They would be interfering all the time. It's like, okay, yeah, it affected the pacing, and you didn't really get a good flow going, or terribly impressive match out of it that you'll remember next week, but it kind of made sense for them to do that. Like I said, it wasn't a memorable match or anything, but I don't think it was. I don't think it really needed to be. We got our memorable match earlier in the night. This was about just making the DCC look dangerous and putting them over as a force, as something that's can get shit done and be really effective doing so. And Bram got a big win over Jeff Hardy. Not complaining about that at all. He's a future main eventer if he can keep himself out of trouble. So I like seeing him get a big win like that. I like James Storm being seen in a high-profile feud. That's great. So the DCC looked dangerous, which I guess is implying that they have some kind of big plan for this feud. I guess we'll see now that Matt's brain is not broken anymore, which I guess we'll talk about in a minute. So he'll be back, and I guess they'll reignite this feud now, and I guess they're just setting the stage for that. So it wasn't really supposed to be a great match. I think it was just about building up to what comes next with Matt's return.
Now, before we get into Matt's return, okay, we did have one amazing promo by my sis. And to quote, "We are nature's cockroach that cannot be destroyed." Guys, this stuff is off the charts. Seriously, FK9, can this girl not put away a promo or what?
I was a fan of Rosemary for several years before TNA signed her, back in the Courtney Rush days. I've seen a lot of her work. I've never seen her cut a bad promo. Not once. And I've seen a lot of her promos by now. She's incapable of cutting a bad promo. It just doesn't happen. And something that was really interesting about this to me is if you watch this promo, you look at what they did with it. You see all the production, the different cinematography with the lights and the weird camera angles and the editing and the music and all that stuff. And it's not really about the match itself. It's about Rosemary discussing the match and discussing what she's going to do. So Jade actually, what did Jade get to hype this match up? Well, she got a little 45-second YouTube video that she probably shot on her iPhone. And so, if you read between the lines here, they're definitely hinting at who's going to become the next Knockouts champion. And, no spoilers, but it's the signs are definitely pointing to one person over the other. So I'm really excited. I love the promo. I'm really pumped for this match next week. I'm expecting it to deliver. I think it will. I really hope they get a lot of time. because I'm more excited for this match than I've been for any other knockout match in a while.
I'm marking out for it. I'm not gonna lie. For all the reasons that you mentioned, FK9, the girl's off the charts. Anybody that wants to see what she's done before she entered TNA should seriously just go on YouTube and check her out. Her work, whether she's doing it outside of her house in a snowstorm, or whether she's doing it backstage, whether she's doing comedy or serious, whether she's being the goth character, freak show like she's playing now, or whether she's just totally being comedic. They're off the charts. You say she's not capable of delivering a bad promo. I say bad by whose standards? EC3, because this girl's, all of her promos are just off the charts. I mean, she really has a way of connecting with the audience, and she has a way of putting her points over, and really just understands how to say things and how to do things that really sets her apart from the other knockouts. I mean, don't get me wrong, Maria's awesome, but Maria's also just being Maria. She shows the range of being herself, so to speak. The range on Rosemary is just off the charts, and if I were TNA, and I've been saying this for months, I'd put the strap on her, and I think once they do put the strap on her, they're going to have a tough time taking it off of her, because I think that she can go with everybody in the division, and I think that she can continue to thrive by changing her character up if needed as well. I mean, the character arc on this girl is very long, and she's got a very long and really successful career ahead of her.
Totally agree. And just to add something to what you said, we're coming off a year for the knockouts that has been kind of regrettable. Not that it's been anything like horrible or anything, but I mean, there have been a lot of just hot-shotted title reigns, hot potato title reigns that really meant nothing at all. That's been most of the year. I mean, I felt really bad for girls like Jade and Sienna who got their first championship reign, and they just did nothing with it. They were in the back seat playing second fiddle to Gail Kim the whole time. And then really the only one that really meant anything was Allie, because it was designed to work that way, to just generate sympathy for her. And in that capacity, it worked. But every other title reign this year has just meant nothing. And I think they're in a position where they need to change that. This has got to stop. So whoever the next champion is, be it Jade or Rosemary, I think it'll be Rosemary. I hope it is. I think it's her time. She needs to hold that title for a while. I mean, at least until Slammiversary, if not longer. I said on my show, if Rosemary wins that damn title, I want her to just cut a swath through this division and hold that belt until Bound for Glory next year and then defend it against Allie. I think that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, I think, from the moment Rosemary debuted, she's been on fire. And the DK has been on fire as well. I think it is her time. She's got to win this. But I also think that Jade eventually needs another reign as well. Her first reign just didn't, it was good, but it could have been a lot better. So I'm really looking forward to how barbaric this match is going to be, how hard-hitting it's going to be for a knockouts match. And either way, whoever wins it, I'll be happy with, since I do like both of them. And I'm very excited for this week's Impact.
Hashtag Rosemary for champ.
That's right, damn it. Hashtag Rosemary for champ. You're not going to get me off my sister's bandwagon. It is just not going to happen, period, end of story. But I do have to give some serious props to Jade. Jade has been a great performer. She's been a great performer all year. The fact that her title reign sucked had nothing to do with her and everything to do with the fact that Maria and Gail dominated the time. And then they took the strap off of her, in my opinion, too soon. I do think that Jade needs an opportunity to show what she can do. The problem is I think that Rosemary's that much better. So it's nothing against Jade. I think Jade is awesome. I just think that, Rosemary is the shit. And guys, speaking of the shit, okay, from shit to the shit, we have the Matt Hardy miracle. let's face it, at the beginning of the year, Matt Hardy was in every main event. He was boring as hell. His character was absolutely awful. And we screamed at the top of our lungs for Matt Hardy to change. And Matt Hardy changed. And he delivered. And finally, guys, after weeks of trying to get him to remember that he's broken, and I will never understand why Rebby wanted him broken. Personally, if I were Rebby, I would want the new Matt Hardy. The guy wants to fix up the house and be a good man and a carpenter, and he's not talking about, like, eating people. He's not biting people's ears and doing all sorts of bizarre stuff in the ring. But he gets re-broken after all of this stuff. Hurls, buddy, what was it like when you saw the camera looking up and he's outside and, you know, he's talking to the 7 deities and all of a sudden he gets struck by lightning? You had to know what was coming. What was the feeling that you felt in that moment?
I felt a culinary catastrophe, yes.
Oh, that was epic. That was awesome.
Oh, just, can it get any better? Like, every week, they just keep doing something just to make you laugh your ass off. I mean, just the hottest storyline of wrestling, bar none, this year has been the broken Matt Hardy stuff. And this was an extra spin on it. And the comedy factor of this week's, in particular, the ice cream social was great. I mean, you got Senior Benjamin, you got the droid. Oh boy, what's his name? Help me out here.
Vanguard 1.
Thank you. Vanguard 1 sipping on some lemonade. Just classic stuff. I mean, you know, it had to end, obviously, because Matt needs to get re-broken again, but great stuff. I can't wait to see him come back, and Broken Hardys versus DCC. It's going to be good.
If Matt's brain is not broken anymore, does that mean the ice cream social is off?
Never. I can't do it. Sorry, Hurls.
Thanksgiving without an ice cream social? Perish the thought. You know, when they did that last shot, that low-angle shot where the camera is on the ground, pointed up in the air, and a Matt reaching towards the sky, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be funny if he got hit by lightning here? Wouldn't that make so much sense for this batshit insane character to do? And I wish I'd tweeted that, because I would have looked like a fucking genius. But yeah, just when you think this stuff couldn't get any weirder, he gets hit by lightning. What can you really say about it at this point? They finally advanced the story. Matt gets his memory back. You get Vanguard 1 sipping on whatever the hell that was. You got Senor Benjamin getting ready to rub out a decrepit erection with that Playboy he was reading there. This was just really entertaining stuff. I don't know how Matt changed it up from the early beginnings this year when we were just begging this guy to get de-emphasized or just taken off the show entirely. But man, he did it, and he's turned into one of the funnest acts in wrestling. This is great stuff. I'm so looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to Impact because of Matt Hardy. I never thought I would say that. A year ago, if you told me I was going to say that, I would have called you a liar. But that's where we're at now. Broken Matt doesn't have a broken brain anymore. He's fixed Matt Hardy, I guess. So I guess Jeff has to go back to being obsolete now. I don't know what's going to happen there because he was back to being Jeff now. But whatever. It's funny. I guess this is what they had to end the show on, Matt getting hit by lightning, because there's no way you're going to top that. But yeah, that was the right way to end Thanksgiving, with a lightning strike. What else can you really say about it?
Not much. I mean, you know, this guy has been off the charts. He's not even on the show, and he's stealing the show. He's stealing the show from his friggin' living room or his front yard. I mean, you know, all I can say is I have no idea what happened, what made him come up with these concept of the lake of reincarnation and all the rest of the 7 deities, and this is just bizarre stuff. But every single part of it is working. You know what I'm saying? An ice cream social, Senor Benjamin, for crying out loud, Senor Benjamin, and culinary obsolete, and just all the weird things about having the random referee show up at his house to talk to him. Matt Hardy, you're rocking it. You and your Skarsgård, you guys are just tearing it up. So, look, folks, that's the show, and that's our show. Thanks for joining. On behalf of TN Asylum, the entire HeelCast, especially these two guys, Mr. Hurls and the Fool Killer himself, I'm Brother _ saying have a great week. We'll catch you next time.